Attracting new business into the state, and that's really why I'm here today, to talk about what does it take to attract new business into the state. And that's what we want to do, is how do you attract those companies to show up. We look at geography, we look at size of city and level of growth. Growth means vitality. We look at airport access, and that determines whether I can get to Europe on one shot or I can go domestically. And those airports can be critical for certain operations. We then screen number 2, which is we look at maybe industry presence, university presence, and on down the line. We certainly look at costs, whether it's in taxes or logistical costs of local positioning, or whether it's in energy or labor or real estate costs. We then do the familiarization tour and make the trip, and then we make the final decision. We look at the business and community resources and the infrastructure, utilities, facilities, incentives, the whole package of resources that a company needs to survive. We then also look at the labor piece in the middle, and if we're bringing a lot of people in, or once we're there, we're going to attract certain people to show up, quality of life becomes a real issue. Utilities are important, and they will change depending upon the nature of the operation. Some operations are high water users and power users, and others are less. Transportation, operating costs, incentives, etc. If you look at all the taxes, whether it's personal income or corporate tax or sales tax, you have the distinguished honor of being in 50th place. There's only one place to go from here, and that is up. As far as energy costs go, I look selectively along the East Coast. And New England, because of its oil base, of its economy for producing energy, Massachusetts and Rhode Island and Connecticut are vying for each other for who gets to be number 1 in the most costly energy. So if you're looking for a place that requires, if you have a process that requires a high amount of energy, the chances are you're not going to come to New England. There are a lot of companies out there that fear unions. Now, if you folks that are in labor could find a way to not be feared and to be respected in terms of what you could do to help them, maybe we could turn that around 180 degrees. So to use a theme from New England, we have kind of, in one respect, a perfect storm. Highest tax package, high energy costs, high unionization, and we're not strategically located. One of the key things that you can do to keep business and to attract business is to create sites that are at the level of readiness that business wants. Now, all of you run a business right now. You've got 100 employees. You're thinking about coming to Rhode Island, or you're in Rhode Island, and you need 50,000 square foot building because you're busting at the seams. 2 choices. I can go over to this person's lot, and they said, we're thinking about making this into an industrial park someday, and we can give it to you cheap. Over here, the person says, I have a brand new building. It's a flex building. I'll give it to you for $8 a square foot. Which alternative do you think is most ideal for somebody that's a fast-growing business that's dying to fill orders in the next week? Do you get my point? Readiness is competitiveness. Readiness for facilities, though, changes with life cycle of a company. Incubators are important, but we need a second stage incubator, what I call a mega incubator. It still provides the same core services, but for bigger companies. They don't want to do their own telecom. They don't want to do their own building management. They're too small. They only got 100 employees. They barely have an HR manager. They're just trying to get the product out the door. So that's what we need right there, and nobody is building those. What we want are people that are willing to work in teams, demonstrate creativity, be independent thinkers, and work in teams, grasp critical thinking approach to problem solving, flexible, adaptable to change, flexible and adaptable to change, because the product changes every day, and to be an agile learner, which fuels that ability. The bottom line is, you learned one skill once and it served your whole life. Now you're going to learn a new skill every month. Reflects the need for speed, an ability to compete in an ever-changing economy. So now you see where the union comes in. If the union could foster those kinds of people, the union would be considered the hero. If you can instill that kind of culture, this state would be the most competitive state in the country, if not the world. We may be able to compete on technology, but we need some more toys here. Well, here's the other toy. We invented here. Primary research, applied research, and product development. Between Brown and URI, you're doing about, in the state, well, the state is doing about 200 million, 250 million a year in research. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, and I don't mean to embarrass you, but Massachusetts does exactly 10 times that. Think about backward integration. If you're going to have a lot of wind turbines out here, and you want to be in the wind turbine production business, then you might want to consider being in the carbon fiber material business, being in the blade manufacturing business out of carbon fiber, into the equipment assembly business, and then into the systems integration. That's what Professor Porter would have called a cluster. Mr. Churchill said in his greatest hour of need, a pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. And our friend Mr. Edison said, luck is when preparedness collides with opportunity. Thank you very much.